everyone. Oh, y'all can do better than that. Good morning. Good morning. It's a beautiful day. I'm like so excited about today. All right, I'm not going to say much. I'm going to just kick us off and turn it over to Dina to get us started today. So, thank you so much, Dina.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I am Mecklenburg County Manager Dina Diorio, and I'm really happy to be here to welcome you to our annual community meeting, and it's exciting to see all of you here ready to continue the important work of fighting the opioid epidemic in our community. I want to acknowledge the Mecklenburg County Commissioners who are here today, Vice Chair Lee Altman, District 5 Commissioner Laura Meyer, and District 6 Commissioner Susan Rodriguez-McDowell. Welcome, everyone. It's the Commissioner's approval in May 2023 that allowed us to begin to deploy an initial $10.9 million of the settlement funds for evidence-based interventions. And this past December, they approved another $5.5 million for special initiatives for high-risk populations. I want to thank the county staff leading this effort, especially Robert Nesbitt, Marcus Boyd, Abby Wyatt, the public health and public information teams. If you guys are here, please raise your hands and be acknowledged. I also want to recognize our facilitating team who is ready to make this a very special morning for us. Rise Consultants and Charlotte is Creative. Can you guys raise your hands, please? Most of all, I want to thank all of you for being here today. You and our key partners, community stakeholders, and residents, you represent the county's why in this work. For many years, Mecklenburg County, like so many counties across the country, was paralyzed by the opioid epidemic. We held community meetings, listened to story after story about loss and heartbreak. The epidemic seemed too big, the battle almost insurmountable. Then came the collective legal battle and a national settlement with Big Pharma. Mecklenburg County played a prominent role in North Carolina to make sure we and our partner counties would receive the funds to fight this battle for 18 years. Mecklenburg County has already initiated programs across 7 of the North Carolina's strategy areas: early intervention, evidence-based addiction treatment, recovery housing support, recovery support services, naloxone distribution, syringe services programs, and employment-related services. And we're in the early implementation phase of 3 new initiatives: a post-overdose response team, addiction treatment for incarcerated persons, and reentry programs for returning citizens with opioid use disorder. We are here in our 3rd year of work, and I'm excited to say I have some data to share with you. Our public health team and community partners have distributed more than 10,000 naloxone kits in our county. We are working to achieve naloxone saturation in our community, ensuring this resource is widely available, accessible, and ready for use whenever and wherever an overdose occurs. In partnership with Alliance Health, 1,135 individuals received early intervention services. More than 700 residents have been connected to treatment for opioid use disorder, and 790 community members were provided recovery support services. We also helped 368 clients gain access to employment opportunities and training, and 211 clients have been housed or connected to housing assistance. This data is now available to the community through our online dashboard at mecnc.gov. We believe transparency is critical in this work, and the dashboard helps us achieve that. What's exciting about this work is not only are we helping people with their addiction, we are helping them rebuild their lives. With the county's efforts and the work of our partners, we are transforming the story of the opioid epidemic in our community. It's no longer just a tragic story. It's now a story of recovery, resilience, and reclamation of lives. But the work and the fight are far from over, and we know that. Recent news about the escalation of opioid deaths in the Black community is both alarming and heartbreaking. It tells us how this work is a continual learning process, and we must stay vigilant in finding the best ways to help our community, and I know that we will do that. We have a very special program planned for you today. It's a unique opportunity for all of us to learn, empathize, and move to action in our work against the opioid epidemic. Through today's program, we will be as close to walking in the shoes of a county resident facing this personal battle. They could be your friend, your neighbor, your colleague, or a family member. I encourage you to have an open mind and a willingness to reflect on solutions. Whether it's in policymaking, education, or support systems, we all have a role to play in this work. We have talented people here today to guide us in this immersive experience. Without question, Mecklenburg County is committed to this work today and for years to come. But that always begins with showing up, as all of you have done here today. I thank you for being here, and now please join me in welcoming Nicole Augustine, who will be our guide today. She and the team will challenge us to think critically, engage deeply, and renew our commitment to eradicating this epidemic in our community. Nicole.
All right, so I'm back. Hello. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. I heard he said good morning back so quick. Thank you. I'm so honored to be here today and excited to be a part of this third annual opioid event. As Dina mentioned, today is an opportunity to engage, to reflect, and to immerse yourself. And I just really look forward to the opportunity we have today to really talk about what's happening, to really understand the resources here in our community and all the time and energy that has gone into the work here. It looks like there we go. I was like, the laptop timed out. Before we get started today in our journey together, I want to kick it off with to introduce two folks who are performing artists today. Throughout our time, we will have opportunities to talk, to reflect, but these two are going to kick us off with a performance that really kind of thinks about so many different things around opioid use disorders, but also substance use disorders in general. Our two leaders today are Daisy Mays and Deborah Armstrong. I'm going to introduce both of them first and then have them come up and share their thoughts with us. Daisy Mays is a performance artist who has crossed many stages for at least 15 years of time now. She's a nationally titled slam poet, she's a social media creator, and she's a rapper who blazes stages every time she spits her fire. She is also a voice for the voiceless, and I think you will really hear that today in what she's presenting. They call her Daisy Mays because she's pretty and complicated. If you want to know more about her, you'll want to join the Mays movement in order to keep up. Our second artist that we'll hear from this morning is Deborah Armstrong. Deborah is an inaugural Youth Poet Laureate in Sacramento, California. She has been featured on National Public Radio with Beth Ruick. She's a speaker for TEDx Sacramento, and she just finished her first chapbook. Please help me welcome Daisy Mays and Deborah Armstrong to the stage here as they bless us this morning.
So when Deborah comes up here, yes, we are related. That's why we look alike. Just want to put that out there. I'm going to let this piece speak for itself. Dear disorder, the first time I touched you, it was like the world opened up. As if the universe whispered my name. You were so smooth, so charming and gentle. Felt like silk gliding over my mental. You made everything feel easy. Like falling into a warm bed after the longest of days. I remember I would laugh with you every time we'd kiss, thinking this is what I was missing all along. But as the days continued to grow long, your smile seemed to fade, and the way you made me feel felt more like falling down a cascade, but when it hurt, you'd say, stay, and I did. But see, my grandmother loved someone like you growing up. And my mother watched as her mother's soul was taken away piece by piece, and just like you, they promised her peace. I'd swear it would never be me. I'd swear I saw all the things that she didn't yet see, but you kept showing up. In my thoughts, in my bones, in the cracks of my smile, you kept showing up. You became the sunrise to my mornings and the darkness in my nightfall. You loved me, or so you made me believe. With you, I could forget. The world felt so soft, and my trauma felt weightless. It was magical the way that you can make everything disappear. And yet I still want to see you. lungs feeling unfilled, and I want to breathe you, and I know that I shouldn't. My grandma wanted to stop dealing with a man like you, and for a long time I thought she wouldn't. You are so intoxicating, so push and pull, so stop and go, so numbing to all the feelings that I don't even know, and I never want to leave you. But when I finally said goodbye, for the very, very last time, God granted me serenity in NA rooms with watered-down coffee to get over you. 'Cause see, my grandmother loved someone just like you. And my mother watched as her mother's soul was taken piece by piece. And just like you, they promised her peace, but you never brought it, did you? If peace of mind was a class, you never taught it, did you? I know that you never loved me as much as I hoped you would. And now I know that this relationship was very one-sided. Thank you. Deborah Armstrong, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much. How many of you all are familiar with the term recovery capital? Show of hands. Awesome. The poem that I'm going to share speaks to ideas around recovery capital from a firsthand perspective. As we know, this field is very data-driven, and it's important for us to not lose sight of the individuals behind the numbers. I stand before you a statistic. I'm a Black girl brought up way beneath the poverty line. My parents are one of the 40 to 50% of married couples that divorce in the United States. My mother has made home in cities ranked the most dangerous in the state of California, from Richmond to Stockton. I couldn't tell you if it was sage, prayers, or soul music seeping through stereos early Saturday mornings that made home feel safe, but home felt safe. I used to count my steps. Walking past countless abandoned apartment complexes, I'm going to the nearest liquor store. Mom needs a stick of butter, but again, we will settle for a bucket of margarine because A&J's Liquor doesn't sell actual butter. The nearest grocery store is more than 2 miles away, and we don't have transportation. We live in a man-made food desert, and this liquor store is the only oasis for miles. City developers look at towns like mine with eyes full of lust, smiling like hyenas. They have agreed change must be made, using the word development to mask capitalist intentions, but we've seen it time and time again. In places like Seattle, Boston, New York City, and San Francisco, just to name a few, of the top cities affected by gentrification in the 21st century. According to statistics, 40% of the urban housing in these areas moved from the bottom half of the price distribution to the top half, meaning that along with organic grocery stores, coffee shops, and brand new lofts came rent increases, displacing the people of color that well-off developers market, that created the culture that well-off developers market as a commodity. I might sound Black and bitter, like a $5 cup of coffee in the middle of my neighborhood. This pattern of redevelopment and relocation is the reason that I attended 5 different high schools in my 4-year high school career. Gentrification has directly affected my education, yet here I stand, walking past countless abandoned apartment complexes. I'm going to work, wondering how to define the line between development and gentrification. Resources should not be accompanied by unaffordable rent. Poor people will not continue to be marginalized and confined to the outskirts of urban utopias. Poor people will not choose between affordable housing and safe, resourceful communities. Let's face it, decent housing is a human right that should be readily accessible to everyone. The time for change is here, so let's get moving. Thank you. I have another piece that I'd like to share with you all. This one speaks to the importance of the intervention strategies that we'll be discussing here today and how they truly do save lives. Here lies Rachel. She wore long sleeves and sometimes short ones. Rachel had a habit, and most people were unsuspecting. Roommates of Rachel's said that she was high achieving, didn't even notice when she was getting high. Drug addicts don't attend UCs after all. She graduated cum laude, top of her class with heroin tracks on the bottom of her toes. In school again to get her master's degree, only this time she overdosed and there was no Narcan on campus. I suppose we expect habit havers to have a certain look, but Rachel wore long sleeves and sometimes short ones, very rarely looked disheveled. Roommates of Rachel's said that she was high achieving. They didn't even notice that she was getting high. She didn't have a certain look. How many lives could we save if we believed that addiction does not have to equal a death sentence, especially when some odd 220 million people in the United States enjoy at least 1 cup of coffee every day? Some of those Americans would suffer severe withdrawals without their Americanos, and every single one of them get to live. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. My gosh. Original pieces, you all, from the minds of amazing creators. So let's move into the journey experience today. This is the part of the program I'm very, very excited about, is the opportunity for us to have a new experience. There's 3 main purposes of the journey today. One is to raise awareness. On the very basic level, we want you all to have knowledge of the resources that exist right here in our county that can actually help and support people. So a part of this experience is going to be recognizing that. Another part is challenging stigma. We know how much stigma gets in the way and creates a barrier for people. And so a part of your conversations today are going to be around how do we challenge stigma in the work we do. And then the third primary purpose is identifying gaps. A part of this work and a part of the opioid settlement funding is to prioritize gaps, prioritize areas where we can make connection. And so today, a part of this too is we want to hear from you all throughout the experience of really understanding where are the gaps that exist still that we need to really kind of address. So I want to explain what's going to happen here so that everyone understands how we're going to spend basically about the next 45 minutes together. You all are seated at round tables where each table has been given a persona card. So what will happen here today is, and thank you, folks are showing them. So every table has a persona. It's got a blue background, it says the journey. So one of the first things your table will be doing is reviewing your persona card. Now, I'm gonna take a minute to do a quick roll call here. We have 10 personas in the room that we can check who all is here. So the first one is Elena. Who all has Elena in the room? Great, okay, Elena. Marcus in the room? Marcus, okay, just one. How about Tanya in the room? Tanya, okay. John? Great, John. Simone? Great. David? Okay, great. Raven? All right, there should be 2. Okay, Amina? All right, Gary? Awesome. And Nina in the room. Fabulous. Okay, so this is your persona. And one of the first steps your groups will be doing is really getting a moment to understand who your persona is. The purpose of this immersive experience is not to pretend to be someone else, but be you. Be you. And how would you, as a person who is needing to offer support to someone, the persona that you have, what would be the things you're doing? So first step, you guys are going to do that. The second thing you all will do is you all also should have at your tables a die. Okay? And this is going to represent an event that your persona would experience. All right? There are 4 types of events in the room. We're going to call attention to those. The 4 is medical. And we have a medical station in the back here, so medical will raise their hand there. We have a family or social event that can happen right over here in the front, okay? We have a legal or justice event that could happen. It's the table in the back there. And workforce and education. So here's what will happen is your table will roll the die and you'll determine what type of first event the person's going to experience. You'll get one of these 4 options. You'll send a representative to the station, okay, and you'll receive what's called an event card. It's going to be a random situation that will happen with your persona. You all, whoever you send will bring that back to your table, and the last step you guys will do, you will discuss your persona and the event, and most importantly, how do you all as support persons help and assist that person, okay? So here's what I want to explain for how to do that. We have resources, because we didn't want to assume that everybody knows all the resources here in Mecklenburg. In your folders, on the right side, you will see a document. It is called Evidence-Based Strategies for Opioid Recovery and Intervention. This will be your tool for the local resources right here in Mecklenburg that you would recommend your persona utilize, activate as a result of their event that's happening, okay? On your tables, you also have note cards. They're called event notes. You all will use this card here, they're showing them around the room, to make a note. What's the event that that your persona is experiencing, and what are some of the resources directly from this guide that you would recommend the individual utilizes, okay? So these are the 3 steps that you're gonna have. Each round is gonna be 10 minutes. I'm gonna use visual cues because in a moment when we start talking, it's gonna get pretty loud in here. So when the 10 minutes start, you will see a green here on the board. I'll put a timer at 5 minutes, it'll turn yellow. And when you have 1 minute left for the round, it'll turn red. That'll let us know time to end that round and to do it again, okay? So we have enough time today, you all, for your persona to experience 3 to 4 events, all right? You won't have to keep track of this, I will, all right? So at the start of the 10 minutes, what will happen, just to remind us again, at the start of 10 minutes, what's the first thing you're gonna do? Review your persona, okay? Once you all feel you really understand who your persona is, you're gonna roll the dice, determine which event station, let's review them again. Where's my medical station? Medical is red, okay? My justice station, right here, the turquoise. Workforce development, right here, and then family and social here. You just send one person over, they'll get a random event and bring it back to the table, all right? Then you all will plan and discuss what are the local resources we can use to assist this person, all right? Because we want to be more knowledgeable of the resources that are available. This is a real, it's intended to be tangible, okay? All right, so hopefully everybody understands what we're doing. Should be relatively easy. There's going to be a lot of talking and conversation that will happen right at your tables. All right, so I'm going to get my timer going here for our first 10-minute round, the first 10-minute round.
So it could be a connection maybe to that.
It's on the recovery support center, so turn, and then right there.
Okay, so we're getting to about 5 minutes left in this first round. Remember to use your note card to make a note of the event and the resource that you're recommending for the scenario, okay?
pretty They keep remodeling every place I get one, every month.
Really, they have to do remediation.
And I tend to root out an empty space and fill it full of spray paint.
That's all the part.
It's called a rat nest. Did you know they have sunshine?
that I am timing the rounds, but if your group gets through a scenario faster, you can go as frequently as you want. We have over 200 scenarios in the room. There's no way you can get a new one. So just know, if you like to talk, feel free to use the whole 10 minutes, but if you guys are ready to look at a different event, just go ahead and do that at your leisure, okay? But I'll keep the timing up here for those who are doing the full 10 minutes, all right? Awesome. round 3. If you haven't done so already, some of you have.
Like a shot or something. Oh, she's not even leaving. She's gonna help me fun. I'm like, oh, it's okay. Great. Maybe we can like this is mine. I think she's not a great so I'm like, let's go. You're just stay in the corner.
everybody. We are moving into our final round, round 4. Feel free to pick another event if you're ready to. But if some of you guys are really into your current conversation, so feel free to finish those off. But we got about 10 more minutes before we're done with this part, okay? just 4 minutes left on this round, 4 minutes left. Begin to gather your thoughts and your notes and your reflection so far.
Remember the retreat? I did that. I'm gonna look it up. Liquor check. That's a beautiful piece of memorabilia. The liquor check. Yeah. That's a beautiful piece. Only you would keep that shit. That's awesome.
I didn't even mean to. I think I threw it in the airport. Just like it's traveled with a bunch of people.
Remember that Canadian thing we created? Did that go in the office?
Yes, sir.
Looking at it more earlier. So you want to solve
Well, I would rather amplify the small money than go all out.
Remember the retreat? I did that. I'm gonna look it up. Liquor check. That's a beautiful piece of memorabilia. The liquor check.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful piece. Only you would keep that shit. That's awesome.
I didn't even mean to. I think I threw it in the airport. Just like it's traveled with a bunch of people.
Remember that Canadian thing we created? Did that go in the office?
Yes, sir.
Looking at it more earlier. So you want to solve
Well, I would rather amplify the small money than go all out.
All right. Hopefully, everyone had an amazing experience. A lot of deep conversation. At least that's what I observed from here. So we're going to move into debriefing this activity together. And I want to invite you all into Mentimeter to do this. When you have a room this size, it's helpful to have a way for multiple people to respond. And so if you can grab your phones, quick, easy way to do this, show your camera to the QR code, and that will drop you into the presentation. If that's challenging for you, just bring up a browser, Google, Safari. Hey, we got different things going on. You can type in menti.com right there into the browser on your phone and just plug in that QR code. Ooh, perfect. I'm starting to see some thumbs up. That means people got in there okay. Great. And Mentimeter is an anonymous way to provide feedback. Because a part of this conversation, we want to know what your experience is, but we also want to get some feedback from you all throughout this, all right? So great, I'm seeing the thumbs up on there. Folks are getting into here. Perfect, okay, yeah, we're good. You're good. All right, okay. So the only thing you should see right now is the fact that it let you into the Mentimeter, all right? I'm about to show the first one to make sure people got in. So my first question is gonna create a word cloud. Take a moment to think of 3 adjectives, phrases, whatever you like, to place there in the prompt for your thoughts or feelings about what you just experienced. And this is going to populate a word cloud for us here as you all begin to put those adjectives in. And you have up to 3. So you could use just one if you wanted to, but you could use up to 3 phrases that are coming to mind. The cool thing about word clouds, right, is we're all doing this individually, but as we see words that overlap, they get bigger in the word cloud, which I think is always fascinating to see. All right, so what are some of the things that are populating for us here in the word cloud? Hopeful. Yes, hope. Yeah, please, hopeful. She screamed it out. Yes. Eye-opening, okay? Empathy. Yes, empathy. I like frustrating. Yeah, right? Complex. Okay. Challenging. Inspiring, right. Yeah, right? Collaborative. Yes, yes. And again, make note of the words that are getting bigger, because that means multiple people had that same thought or feeling about the experience today and about what you've just gone through, which I think is always powerful to kind of see the ways in which we overlap. I like MacGyvering, yes, right? Yeah. Right. And not to make light of it, I'm glad we were able to laugh, but the reality is so many people are MacGyvering their way through recovery, through treatment, right? Powerful reflection here. Great. The cool thing about Mentimeter is after this presentation is done, I can download these screens and make sure we share them back so that you all can look at them and have them too, okay? So great. Thank you for that first. The next 2 are open-ended, and what open-ended means is you'll have to use your thumbs to type full sentences. So be prepared. But the next 2, we really want to get some feedback from you all. So the first one is, just in general, what was the most impactful part of this experience for you? Give you all a moment to share your thoughts on this here perspective. And let's say, so we do have mics in the room. If there are folks who want to use their voice, please just lift your hand, and we've got some mics in the room too. So you have more than one way you can engage in the conversation today.
It looks like somebody picked me, spoken word artist. I like that answer. These are good. Looking through the resources and discovering the systems that are broken are not logical to support people.
Sharing minds is impactful as well.
Yes.
No one resource covers all needs. Powerful.
Opportunity to network with the right people.
Challenging conversations with those who have differing views.
Putting myself into someone else's shoes and thinking of ways to impact their lives. Wow. I think that goes very nicely with how large empathy was in the word cloud.
Absolutely.
Being able to hear others relate to our individual and sharing experiences based on our upbringing and what we do for a living.
I think there's 2 here. Learning about current resources out there and learning about resources from others. I think that's something to take away from today is what you've learned today, share it with other people. Don't keep it inside.
Absolutely.
Bring it into conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Acknowledging that there are still gaps that exist.
Wow. And I want to lean into that one real quick to move to our next Mentimeter, only because this is where I want to hear from you all. What were some of the gaps you noticed? What did come up? What was missing? Because a part of today is, one, acknowledging what does exist here in our county, but also looking for opportunities where we can fill gaps that are existing, gaps that maybe we didn't think about today or beforehand, right? And so we also want to populate from you all is what was missing too, okay?
And these are great ones. I see them already. Health insurance. Heavy on the health insurance. How many of us have it?
I think system navigation too. There are so many services out there, but do people know that? Is it easy to find their way to them?
Right. mind waiting for the mic?
I'm noticing a very common theme of a lack of youth services and support. Even just in seeing the scroll, it's teens, youth. That's a recurring theme. And that's where I also identified a gap.
Okay. Yeah, some of you had youth cards in the room. There were, I believe, 4. You guys had a youth card. There were, several tables that had youth-specific cards, and they only had their own intervention opportunities.
I really like that transportation is one.
Yeah, I think from the teen standpoint, like even on our resource list, knowing for sure which resources are serve teens, you know, like always including whether it's adult and teen, teens, youth, like so that when we're looking at our resource list, we know which ones are applicable.
That's a great point. Thank you for sharing that.
My name's Justin Irby, and I'm an addict and an alcoholic. I would like to see the hands of anybody else in here that suffers from addiction.
Awesome. Wow.
There should be more of us.
Yes, I agree
I
with
completely respect
you.
that.
I agree with you on that. Wow, okay, thank you. We will download these. That way we can look at, what was helpful, but also pay attention to what is potentially missing, right? Because a part of this conversation is looking at funding utilization, not just what the past is, but also the forwardness of it too, right? Wonderful, okay, wow, this is great. Any other ones we want to pull out or highlight here that are
I
coming up?
saw bilingual and LGBTQ specific services.
Okay,
Very important.
okay, thank you for that. Awesome, okay, wow. Thank you all for being so engaged, really. You come to meetings like this and you can be passive, really, right? You guys are adults can do what they want. But I really, really appreciate the fact that as I was walking around, I noticed you all were really engaged in the conversation, truly thinking about what it means for the persona to navigate the resources that already exist. And how would you, as a support person, be coming next to that person? So our hope is that you'll take these resources, that you'll use them, that you'll share them back to others, but that you'll also think about how you help folks navigate the complexities of finding treatment, sustaining recovery, living and thriving in our county and in our community. So I really want to thank you all for being involved in the journey experience. And y'all are the pilot, y'all the first group to do this today. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so at this time, I want to shift us to having a conversation about the funding utilization. One, so we can celebrate all the wonderful work and the ways in which the funding has been utilized so far. I would like to bring to the stage Marcus Boyd, who is the program manager, and Deborah Armstrong, who will be presenting this next section here focused on funding utilization and impact. Thank you.
Hello again, everyone. Again, I am Deborah, and this is Marcus, and we're going to be taking you all through a presentation on the funding utilization as it concerns the opioid settlement, which is why we're all here today.
Thank you. I'm Marcus Boyd. I appreciate you all coming out. I'm going to go through the funding priorities that Dina mentioned during her portion of the program, just to give us more insight into how those dollars were utilized. So through stakeholder feedback and key partner input, we identified 8 strategy areas that we wanted to input. You'll only see 7 represented here, primarily because collaborative strategic planning is one of the ones that we included everyone in the community in to voice where we go from here. How do we use these dollars to be most effective in our community? Represented on this slide is evidence-based addiction treatment, recovery support services, recovery housing support, employment-related services, early intervention programs, naloxone distribution services, and syringe service programs. The initial pot of dollars was $2.25 million going to evidence-based addiction treatment. Our providers are listed here. Alliance is our local managed care organization. They, in turn, expanded their network with 2 additional providers. I'm going to highlight them at the end of the presentation. Essentially, these programs were building out MAT, or medication assisted treatment programs, combining FDA-approved medications with the behavioral health counseling to reduce opioid cravings and withdrawal symptoms. Next is recovery support services. The funding investment there was $2 million. The big win for that, and I should go back. Can we go back? The big win that I want to make sure that we all know and we can acknowledge is that 700 program participants have been served under evidence-based addiction treatment to date, utilizing opioid settlement dollars. Thank you so much. Recovery support services, a funding investment of $2 million with our select providers. The big win there was 790 program participants who received services since inception. This includes training peer support specialists and care navigators to work with individuals throughout their recovery journey, connecting those participants to community resources like support groups, healthcare providers, and housing programs. We know that peer support really focuses on building trust and having someone who's walked along that same path as you help guide you to the next destination. We talked about housing. We saw that was identified as one of our gaps. Where we do have recovery housing support, we have programs that we partner with, including McLeod Center, Queen City Harm Reduction, Hope Homes, and Hope Haven. Those programs offer rent assistance, utility subsidies, and safe recovery-friendly housing. That also includes some support, such as like sober living arrangements, apartments that are linked to treatment programs, even transitional housing. Residents then can participate in structured routines that help guide their recovery. Employment-related services, there was $525,000 that was allocated to that during our Wave 1 funding. Our programs that we partner with include Charlotte Area Fund, Hope Haven, NCIA. 368 program participants have received services through employment-related services to this point. Early intervention programs that aim to prevent the escalation of risky behaviors by engaging young people in their support networks, whether that's family or professionals, with appropriate services. With that program, we've been able to serve 746 program participants since inception of services, utilizing services with Thompson's Project 648 and Alliance Health again as they expanded their provider network. There's a caveat to naloxone distribution. The initial Wave 1 funding was $330,000. There's a big number, 10,490 naloxone kits have been distributed to community providers. As we work to reach naloxone saturation in our community, during our Wave 2 funding, we've started the process of allocating an additional $400,000 to that pot to make sure we have that available to our community, those who are in need, no matter where they stay in our county.
I'd like to add that there is also some naloxone available in the lobby here today. Please do take some home and potentially save a life.
Thank you so much. And syringe service programs. Since the inception of services, there has been 832 new members enrolled in syringe services, $210,000 funding investment, and Queen City Harm Reduction is our primary partner. In addition to the syringes, the Queen City Harm Reduction also offers naloxone kits, wound care, and refers to substance use treatment and mental health services as appropriate. We talked about new investments or our Wave 2 funding. The Wave 2 funding there was a request that was made by me on December 3rd to our Board of County Commissioners. Our Board of County Commissioners was very responsive to our needs and understanding where we need to grow as a community. So they did approve it. They approved addiction treatment for incarcerated persons. Our detention center currently does methadone and Suboxone continuation if a person can validate that or verify that that is occurring, but this is going to give us a chance to induce services while that person is incarcerated. That means they're at less likelihood of overdose upon discharge and are able to connect to a provider with the help of discharge planners and also some added staff members. We're also building a post-overdose response team. $2.5 million, the first time we'll be able to have one in our local community. We're doing that in partnership with Atrium Health. That program is slated to start at some point this year, as well as MAT. We also dedicated $600,000 to reentry programming, meaning that the folks who are leaving our detention center are able to then work with the team to be connected to the appropriate service post-discharge. So when you leave, you don't leave treatment, you just continue it. We're able to get you from A to B, make sure you have the resources you need in place, and hopefully continue your recovery journey. And I spoke to naloxone distribution, adding another $400,000 to that pot. The initial wave one was very generous, the funding there, we really appreciate it, but we also made strides with the help of our public health team to be able to distribute this in all areas. And our public health team also worked with additional providers to make sure we had that available. We have a couple of vending machines now as well, where folks can go in and get in on their own. You can also request it through a web link, and we can provide that information as needed. I want to take a moment to recognize our full participants. We had a slide, but I want to make sure I recognize you by name. We have 17 providers and 1 MCO that are part of this project. I would assume that a lot of those folks are here with us today. So Alliance Health, Amara Wellness, Amity Medical Group, Anuvia Prevention and Recovery Center, Atrium Health's Project Seed, Carolinas Care Partnership, Center for Prevention Services, Charlotte Area Fund, Charlotte Community Health Clinic, McLeod Centers for Wellbeing, NCIA, New Seasons Treatment Center, Oxford House, my apologies, Project 658, and their Hope Community Clinic, Queen City Harm Reduction, Smart Recovery, Thompson's Family Focus, and Zenith Hope Center. They're all part of this project. As we continue to build the programs out, the information that you give us is incredible, primarily because it helps us identify gaps. We'll have further community conversation where you're able to provide input about what you feel needs to be added to this array. This is the beginning of this process. This is the first 3-year allocation that we're working through, but this is an 18-year payout from the National Settlement. So we want to make sure we're being very careful, methodical about the way that we create new programs, evaluate those programs, and then determine if we need to either forgo some programming and add to others or create additional programs. But essentially what we want to reach is a point of equitable access to care for every person in this county, no matter where you stay. It is both an honor and a privilege to introduce our next speaker. Today we have the incredible opportunity to hear from someone who's not only faced the challenges of addiction, but also has demonstrated immense strength, resilience, and transformation in their journey to recovery. Tony is a living example of what is possible with courage, perseverance, and the right support. His story is a testament to the human capacity to overcome adversity and rebuild a life filled with purpose and hope. Tony is now dedicated to helping others find their way, sharing their insights, and being a beacon of hope for those still navigating the struggles of addiction. Tony?
Hey everybody, my name's Tony and I'm an addict. First of all, I want to thank God because I'm a true miracle to be standing here today. I am originally from Charlotte. I know that's kind of rare nowadays, but I was born and raised here. I had a decent childhood, played sports and all that good stuff, and early on, I got with the wrong crowd, so I want to say my addiction really started around teenage years, drinking and stuff like that. So that led me into a lot of places I didn't need to be in, and it wasn't long before I discovered that I was an addict, that once I started doing certain things that I could not stop. And when I was in prison, when I was 30 years old, I was in prison. I've been in prison so much that it's hard to remember. But when I was in prison, the first time I ever tried heroin. And the first time I did it, I knew right then, I said, man, this is my thing right here. And so the whole time I was in prison, I did it. And when I got out of prison, I was actually in Missouri, in prison out there. And when I got back to North Carolina, it wasn't long before I sought it out. And, you know, it really started with pain pills. I got the feeling, that euphoria feeling that keeps people coming back to this stuff in pain pills. But when I started doing heroin, it was like times 100. So after that, when I started using heroin daily, you have no idea how fast that drug can take your life away from you. I was the guy in high school that everybody wanted to be like. You know, the guy that played sports, that was good at sports, popular. And in a short period of time, I became that guy nobody wanted to be around. So, needless to say, I lost a lot of people in my life. I lost family. I mean, I wasn't sober when my mom died. I never got to say goodbye to her. You know, this last go around I've been in and out of programs quite a bit, but this last go around, I showed up at Anuvia's door at their inpatient treatment, and I literally begged them to let me come in. I had a little Walmart bag with a toothbrush, toothpaste, and a deodorant in it, and I was happy that door opened for me. And along that journey, I was in treatment. It's supposed to be 28 days, but for some reason, they gave me an extended vacation through the holidays, so I was there actually 60-something days, and I didn't even care. I was just happy that I was sober. I was happy that I could take a shower. I was happy that I had a bed to sleep in. So the plan was for me to, I'm sorry, I'm going to stop beating on that. The plan was for me to go to a different facility, but a friend of mine that works at Inuvia, Lisa Winter, she suggested Hope Homes Recovery. So I gave Chris a call, and we went through the process, and they accepted me. And since I've been there, I've experienced true people that care about my recovery rather than the dollar bill. And that is rare, I'm sorry to say, in this field. But I am sober today. I'm happy to say that my wife and my daughter's back in my life. I'm healthy. I actually go see a doctor now. And all this is possible from God. God put all these people, all you guys here from all these places, in my life and everybody's life. We just have to take the time to utilize what is in front of us. And that's what I've done. I utilize every tool that I possibly can get, because there's only one thing left for me to do, is die. If I go back out there, it's to die. And there was times before I got sober this time that I didn't want to live. I tried not to live. So there's a purpose I'm here, and I'm just letting God show me what it is. And I'm just happy that I can stand up here and let you guys know that it's not getting any better out there. It's getting a lot worse. And people are getting addicted at way younger ages than me, and it's an epidemic. It is. And I'm glad you guys are here to take part in this and try to help people like me, to be a success story. So, and I want to give a shout out to my homeboy in the back right there, CJ, my roommate. I thank you guys, man. I really do. I was really nervous to get up here, but it's been an honor to stand up here and let you guys know that it's not fun out there for us. You know, opioids is not something that you can just tell yourself, I'm not going to do it today. That disease beats on your back and tells you, yes, you are going to do me today. And it's not just as simple as saying no. It's a process. And through all these providers here, man, I've had the smoothest transition I've ever had in my life. And I want to thank everybody here. Thank you.
Can we just, again, I know we did it, but just one more time for Tony. That was... really feels like, what else could I say, you know? I don't know how many of you know this, but public speaking is the #1 fear in America, even above dying. So for someone to come up here to share their story, it definitely shouldn't be taken lightly. And I thank you personally, Tony. Your story, like, truly, truly touched me. Okay. Let's get into a community discussion. We are going to bring back up our Mentimeter feature. So please do get your mobile devices ready. If you need to reconnect, this is the information here. We have the QR code for you all, and we also have the website and code connection as an option as well. See a couple more people with the cameras pointed. So I'll give some more time here. All right. So this is a voting situation here. Which area of funding do you believe has had the most positive impact? I want you to think about the story that we just heard from Tony. I want you to think about the experiences, the event cards that you got along the journey that you took today, and really consider which one of these resources were most heavily leaned on.
If there's anyone who would like to share their why they voted for, just let us know. Got mics.
I voted for recovery housing because when I was in a 120-day inpatient treatment center, there was no option of recovery housing. It was, you did this program, now good luck to you. You know, and the program that I was part of has, and I don't see them in this room, but I don't give them a shout out to the Charlotte Rescue Mission. They are now perfecting the day 121. You know, it's not just about the treatment. Life goes on.
Yeah.
You know, and you can't just put us out the door and expect us to, you know, we're still fragile, you know, and we need some guidance still. So recovery housing, as being an addict myself, you know, is a pivotal part of the continuous growth of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else have a story or a program or the reason why they voted the way they voted?
Great. And as mentioned before, these results are kept with us. We do use them to make sure we're informing the way that resources are being directed in the future. What additional supports should the county prioritize? So this is another open-ended, thumb-exhaustive question, and we will have folks with mics if you would like to express any context to your answer.
Prevention popped up very quickly.
Peer support and accountability. Police training, heavy on the police training.
Again, transportation. I think that came through widely in the journeys. I like to see the arts up there. That makes me very happy.
That was my answer, the arts.
We're going to be good friends after today.
Yeah. So the reason why I put the arts is because oftentimes when we talk about different subject matter that is heavy, it's heavy. Discussing it, combing through it, milling over it, ruminating, it's heavy. And it's exhausting. And oftentimes people are just left saying, I don't even want to do it anymore. The arts is a way to share ideas, prevention, strategies, stories in a way that it obsequiously just permeates through the audience members. And they have an opportunity to learn something that doesn't feel so heavy and personal and tactical and punitive. So I would encourage, if there are ways that you can infuse the arts into what it is that you're doing, it's often that space that someone needs to just breathe and do something fun or something that takes weight off, opposed to, well, what happened to you? Because that's heavy. So that's why I always say the arts. I've done some of the community's work, and it was hard, and I went home tired and heavy and burdened. But when I started producing plays that spoke to the community and inviting the community-based organizations to the plays to provide more support and having talkbacks, that was impactful. So, the arts.
I agree, thank you.
Yep, go ahead.
I got to stand up. I lead homeless street outreach from Mecklenburg County, so I have to say that I think street outreach providers having access to the, oh my God, the Narcan, I'm going to say Narcan because it's easier for me than the other word. And the syringe, and the syringes, we're already doing it, so we're not in the numbers that you guys have already mentioned earlier, but I can tell you that getting to the most vulnerable, because that's who we serve, people that live outside in places not meant for human habitation, I have given them more access to this. Like, we have folks in encampments that aren't getting the services, may not even be getting the services from without the help of outreach workers that can get them to those services. So I think that's critical. And I just want to share this story really, really quick.
Please.
Last year we had a young woman, she was pregnant, very pregnant, so I'm out to here. She was working with one of our, with my addiction specialists on my team, and at this point she had OD'd about 12 times during this pregnancy. 12 times, 23 years old.
Wow.
So my caseworker kept working with her, whatever, and then she got missing. So that was when she had the baby. After she had the baby, she came to our office. She hunted us down, right? And thanks to the help of our partners with Amara Wellness, they helped us to get her into Charlotte Rescue Mission, which this young woman, she's now at Hope Haven. She's over sober clean. She has a job forklifting. She's re-engaged back with her family.
Yeah.
And honestly, she's somebody that I would consider to hire to work for me because of her great success.
Yes, yes.
That's amazing, thank you for that.
Wonderful story. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. We are actually going to move on here. I believe this is the final question. If you could, in one word, describe the overall impact of this funding, how would you share it? I don't have a phone, I'm going to say mine. Transformative. And keep in mind the cool feature, these words will get bigger as they are doubled.
That word hope has come up quite a bit today. Life-saving, life-changing.
Restorative. Monumental.
Access, that's a big word. It's a big word for the work being done.
Y'all are moving, wow. Resourceful. Overwhelming.
Necessary.
Ethical urgency.
I was accused of thieving the word necessary. I know.
Can we get a 2:30? Can we get a 2:30?
That word hope just stays in the center.
All right, we are going to wrap this up in about a minute here. So if you have any final words, please do share.
Innovative.
Ethical.
Purposeful.
This is wonderful.
Stigma reducing.
That was something that came up quite a bit in the last question too, is reducing the stigmas.
Okay. All right. Thank you all for everything. This has been an incredible day together. If you can believe it, we just got 15 minutes left. Can you believe that? When's the last time you spent 2 hours in a space and it flew by so quickly? All right, so as we come to a close, I want to do two things. One, draw your attention to the event-inspired art that has been happening. The first one is over here on your left, okay, over here on your left. Carolina Quintano Ocampo has been blessing us with her art, live art. She is a Mexican-American illustrator and storyteller, a graduate of UNC Charlotte and the Creative Entrepreneurs Initiative. She blends color, cinematography, and mixed arts to the craft of vivid emotional narratives. She is currently developing her own short film called Mimoto. Today, she has been in the room absorbing our experience and translating it into live art. So one, let's give her a round of applause for what she's been doing today. And two, before you all leave today, please stop by, take pictures, really look at what she has put together. This was developed from the moment in the room. So it's a unique piece. So I really want to make sure you all have an opportunity to see that as it, is finished throughout our day, okay? So thank you for that. Thank you for being here and producing that for us. We have one other live performance we want to showcase also. Today we have the honor to hear from Frank Expression. Frank Expression is a multi-talented artist who fuses spoken word poetry with trumpet performance. Okay, so y'all are in for a treat. His work explores the African-American experience, love, and mental health through the lens of audio expressionism. His goal is to create emotional connections that reminds listeners they are not alone and that it's healthy to feel. Please let us welcome Frank Expression to the stage. Please let us welcome Frank Expression.
First of all, this has been such an amazing experience. Thank you guys so much for having me. And now for the poem. Who are you? Blue collar, white collar, student, teacher, a person? I wish it mattered. when the data drives you into an accident that happens or doesn't happen, there's no statistic that can perfectly predict that you become Elena, self-medicating her ADHD, stealing money from her parents to fund what family can help with, if she can get the family-based health center that centers her more than a generational judgment that comes with seeking help. We work or walk by faces faced with navigating a city paralyzed by opioids. And you, your neighbor, child, or coworker can be a voice for change when fear is speaking, but does health care? When finance services are battling community services for an empty wallet, and relapsing is a race you haven't won yet. There's no shoe that fits all. No shoe that fits all journeys or resources. And it's frustrating. Yes, it's that, not that this room is full of resources recovering real revelations, that help is here and is working. When networking creates partnership that breeds healthy families with accessible care, that this right here is the right fit. That treatment takes time, but it doesn't have to take your life. Here, right here's the proof that health does care. Communities commune in unity. Resources raising awareness that right here, when we all utilize every tool to rebuild our lives, we can possibly get right here. We are making a difference for a hopeful and possible, very much possible, a hopeful and possible future. In peace, thank you.
Wow, thank you. So I don't know if I made this clear. I know the slide says event-inspired performance, but he literally wrote that piece here, like that's what it was. So I hope you guys understand that. He wrote it live based upon what we've been doing here today, just like the piece here. So let's just give that another applause, please. Wow, this has been an incredible day today, you all. We've embarked on a journey together that asks us to step into the role of a supporter, to really think about what it means to navigate the complexities of opioid use disorders, but figuring out what are the resources and services that are available for Mecklenburg County residents. Throughout this time today, you all rolled the dice, you faced real-world challenges, and you made decisions on how to connect your persona to the appropriate intervention strategies. These are some of the same decisions people are having to make every day. Healthcare providers, folks who are facing the challenge of opioid use disorders, and families alike. When I look at some of the words that populate on our word cloud, you all today, hope, I don't know that I saw resilience, but I throw resilience in there, right? It's clear that our time together made an impression. I'm really hoping you all leave here with that. The weight of decision-making that folks have to deal with, unfortunately, is a challenging situation, and we're hoping as more of us know about the resources, we're able to be of help and support to our communities. The work is not done. Our journey doesn't end here. It's just starting, it's just beginning. And I'm hoping that you all will continue to take the conversations you've had here today outside of this room. As we begin to close, I do want to set just a moment of silent reflection as you all take an opportunity to provide some feedback. Okay, so in your folders, let me just reference us. In the folders is your agenda. We'll pull it out here. Everybody grab their agenda, okay? On your agenda, there is a QR code in the bottom left corner. This is an opportunity to provide us feedback today. We have a couple minutes, so I'm going to play just a short musical interlude here to give folks an opportunity to do that right now. You know how it is, if you leave here, you'll forget to do the evaluation, right? So just take a moment here to fill this in, and we'll just give play a little music while you all are doing that, okay? As some of you finish, feel free to sit quietly and reflect on those around you, the discussions you've had today, as we honor the experiences of our family, our friends, some that we may have even lost along the way as it comes to opioid use. I want to thank you all for taking the time to reflect and provide some feedback. You will also see on your tables a little card that says share your thoughts with us. Feel free to take those with you if you want to use more words or share anything about your experience today. We offer you an opportunity to do that. I truly want to thank you all for your presence and participation today. I want to thank you for bringing your heart, your mind, your commitment to this space. I'm hoping that we'll continue to do great work together, continue to build a stronger community and a more supportive Mecklenburg County. So I want to thank you all for being here. Once again, I hope everyone has safe travels, and I hope you all take care. Thank you for your time today.